go on. I think we're on. We're on. We got to be on. It's Sunday night. We're here. I'm me. He's him. And he's him too. We have Johnny Beane in the house.
Yeah, there's two of me. Hey, you guys.
Oh, I just got the notification. Apparently, I'm live. There we go, folks. I hope everyone's doing well on this Sunday night.
Same here. I see it. I see it. Hey, everybody.
Let's see. Who do I have in the chat tonight? I'm going to scroll right up to the top. We got JJ Collins. Hi, everyone. First, we got Old Man Dan. We got Jason Wade. We got Mr. BH. Is that Bruce? I think it's Bruce.
I don't know.
Fender Guru. R2R3 Lockingnut. Frank C. Good to see you, buddy. Let's see. Who else do we have? ET5150. Scotty P. RMG471. You were busy.
Hey.
Guitar Hack. Good to see you, brother. He was on earlier today. Actually, you're both on live at the same time for a while there. That was crazy.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I can only watch so many live streams while I'm working, folks. Larry Riker, good to see you. Cool hangout that you did with Johnny. David Stafford.
What's up, man?
John Parson. Mark So's Images. David Ennis. Dry Heat 480. Everyone's jumping in. Wow, we already got 25 people watching.
Awesome. What's up?
Cool. Aaron Basis. Hello, fellow musicians.
Sup, y'all?
Yeah. Hello. Good to see you. Yeah. So if you guys have any questions for myself or Johnny, feel free to ask. We might even answer them. We might even know the answer. Because we don't need to know the answer to answer the question.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I don't know. I don't even know what I'm doing here.
Yeah. Just same old. You took pity on me. That's what it was.
Huh? No, I mean, I'm never on this side of Hangouts.
No, it is a rare occasion.
The buttons are all weird. All I see is you. Let me see. I don't know. I guess I'll be looking this way.
See ya.
Hey, Arvon, Guitar Hack, R2R3. Everybody. David Ennis, man.
Good guy. Mr. Karma himself.
Awesome. Yeah, so cool. Well, this is your show. What?
Oh, no, it's going to be the Johnny Beane takeover. No.
Oh, man. Hey, Shane Robinson posting in the Discord. Thank you, man.
I saw Larry Riker had typed in Discord. Now the question is, can I get a phasing effect if I go?
Oh, if we both do it, yeah.
It'll
happen. Here, 1 on 3. 1 after 3. 1, 2, 3. Almost.
A nice shimmer going on.
Mm-hmm.
Very nice. Very nice. Yeah, it's good to see everyone. We got 27 people watching, and we haven't really talked about anything. Let's see. What do we got going on? I have a guitar on order. Should be here this week.
Oh, cool.
It's been on my mind a lot. Yes. My buddy Travis over at renofin.ca. Check him out from Victoria, BC. On the southern tip of a beautiful Vancouver Island, as we've been told. But not always sunny, because it did rain the other day. Yeah, he's building me a dual P90 Telecaster.
Awesome. That's cool. That's cool. Uh-oh. Hang on. There we go.
You said you're not used to being on that side. It's all just weird.
No. This it's like the first time I've ever done one of these is what it is. It's not the same. It's not the same at all.
Hey, okay. Groovy Ghoulie, another guy out in BC.
There we go. Hey, so what? A Telecaster with P90s?
Yep.
Is that what you said?
Let's see.
That's awesome. That's my favorite pickups are P90s, really. And I would love to
Well, I will say that was Rich's idea because he said, yeah, I already have a humbucker telly. I have a single coil telly. I have a single coil active pickup telly. Because you don't have a P90, why don't you finish the set? And here, I'm going to turn down the brightness a bit. This was as of about a week ago. I think it's pretty much finished now. Because he's asking me stuff like, how much clear coat can you put on the headstock? Because he knows I want to leave the neck basically unfinished. Let's see. There we go. We did kind of a traditional burst, custom pickup, or custom pick guard, I should say. Kind of an oversized Strat headstock on it, with his own little take on it.
Mm-hmm.
So
that's cool.
Yeah. Hey, we got Frank Corcoran. And we got
Frank.
Craft Beer Pours in. If you're into craft beers, definitely check out his channel. He's got some great stuff. Actually, I think David Ennis won something on his channel the other night. He was doing a bunch of giveaways. I popped in briefly to say hi. And David Ennis was in there, and he's like, hey, I won craft beer. And I'm like, awesome, dude.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Congrats, man. Is that what kind is that?
Labatt's Blue. The old standby, Labatt's Blue. So, summer's over, so I'm not drinking the Corona as much anymore. The weather, dude, the weather has been crazy. With the humidity, we hit 98 like on Wednesday. Yesterday morning, I woke up, it was 53 with a wind chill of 51.
Wow.
Yeah.
But wait a minute. But those numbers, those are different than...
That's Fahrenheit.
Than here, right?
No, that's Fahrenheit. That's the same.
The same?
Yeah. I don't even tell temperature in Celsius anymore. I blame the YouTube community.
Okay. Yeah, because I hear people saying, oh, from other places, they're like, man, it's 100 degrees, or it's 100 out, and it's actually like, they mean it's actually 20, you know?
Yeah.
Or something. It's kind of confusing. It's like, oh, it's 100 degrees. It was 100 out. I had to put my jacket on.
Hey, Caleb.
Caleb's in here?
Yes. Caleb with his new guitar.
Awesome.
Yeah, I was seeing that on that was on the Late Show. He jumped in.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
oh,
cool.
the other night? The other night?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I watched that yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
As usual, you know, the Steve Andersen Power Hours, that's my soundtrack to the Stinky Canuck being open on Saturdays if I'm working.
Uh-huh.
I just have it playing in the stores.
Uh-huh. And how many hours are you there?
6. So, yeah, it just barely, you know, we get through it.
So half of that?
Yeah. There's Mrs. Craft Beer Pours. Good to see you.
Hey.
Yes, thank you, Caleb. Yes, for those who didn't see my Facebook post today, I am officially registered for NAMM 2019. I will be going as, what do they call it? Just an observer or attendee for Boogie Bodies, apparently. Which I wasn't aware Boogie Bodies still existed. And then I went, oh, right. And I saw the address, and I'm like, oh, okay. So thank you very much, Adam Reaver, for hooking me up with the passes. And Richie, thanks you very much as well.
Mm-hmm. That's cool.
Yep.
That's cool. I thought everybody wanted you to take your sister, though.
Yeah.
Did you see that?
I saw that.
Everybody's going to be mad. You don't want to get there and make people mad, you know?
I got a text from her. She was up about the same time as I was the Saturday morning. And she's like, are you watching the Late Show at work today? I'm like, oh, yeah. She's like, that was not my idea. I'm like, what? She's like, NAMM is your thing. And there she is in the chat. She just dropped in. And we have Eddie Van Haskell here. I got a fever, and the only prescription is more cowbell.
Oh, man. Is there a cowbell on here?
Where is it? There it is. No. We need one with cowbell.
This is actually the best one. There's actually
Yes.
several different ones of these, and the other ones are just lame. This is actually the most useful sounds on this particular device.
Right. Yeah, I've been looking at a few of them on Amazon. Whenever I'm ordering something, they're like, well, you need to just spend a few bucks more to get free shipping. I immediately start looking at sound machines.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Hey, Thomas. See ya. See, Amanda says, I'm always getting into trouble on the Late Show, and it's never my fault. Okay, well, I read all the comments, so yeah, most of the time it's not your fault.
I don't know. I have no memory of any of it.
So Jason Wade has one of these coming tomorrow.
Oh, cool. Awesome, man. Yeah, you'll have to post a picture of it.
Yes, and that's the perfect place to post it.
Mm-hmm.
See, heard of PUSA Studios from Canada, filmed and videography channel that openly welcomes channel promotion, prevents all the beating around the bush. Thoughts? Not aware of them myself, but then again, there's a lot of studios in Canada. And Caleb says, Nightbot says hello. Hey, Nightbot. Todd Flowers.
Hey, Todd. Hey,
Absolute Mayhem.
Absolute. Hey, dude. Nightbot.
Yep, good to see you, Nightbot.
Yeah, people said they were subscribing to Nightbots, and I'm like, you guys don't need to do that. There's nothing there.
Hey, Janice. She says, I'm looking at a Digitech RP55 guitar effects processor with drums. Cool. Very cool. Let's think about picking up something along those lines just for writing and jamming amongst myself.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that stuff is great for that stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like Digitech Trio and stuff like that. I have heard of it. I've never used one, but I have heard of them. I know a few people that use those Digitech multi-effects units.
Mm-hmm.
I'm still the guy with the big pedal board.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Scott Nickerson. Good to see you, Scott. He's
Scott.
been really busy the last few weeks. If you've seen his absence or haven't seen his absence in the chat, he's been really busy. But I was chatting with him the last few days through Messenger, and things have slowed down a bit. So he was hoping to jump in tonight and check us out. And thanks again for donating the MXR Super Badass Distortion that we gave away the other night. Congrats to Casper Boo in the UK.
Oh, cool.
Mm-hmm.
Congrats, man.
Oh, cool. Hey. Caleb there ordered a brass block and noiseless springs for the new Wolf. Thanks, Adam. Awesome. Blackie DH. Cool. There's a name I haven't seen in a little while. Good to see you, brother. JC Smith.
Awesome.
Yeah. Scott Howe. Hey, bro.
Awesome.
That would be Amanda's much better half.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Awesome, man. Yeah, where is it? Yeah, I can't use the brass block or the springs in this guitar.
Oh, yeah. I wonder why.
You know. Yeah. Most of my guitars are hardtail. Believe it or not, most of them are. That's most of the guitars that I play. Where am I looking? I should be looking here, I guess. This is
Steve Andersen.
Yeah, this is all weird to me, man. I'm not used to this stuff.
Oh, look who showed up. I think we just got invaded.
Is the camera working? Doesn't look like it is.
No, your camera appears to be muted.
Okay, hang on. Let me solve this.
Mute? Do you mute a camera?
I don't know. I realized as soon as I said it, I was like...
That's kind of weird.
Is that even the right word? Is that even... Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm going to go out and come back in. Be right back.
Okay. It's like we still say when we record things, we tape things.
Uh-huh.
You know,
I still say
that. Yeah.
I still say that. tape. You know?
Mm-hmm.
I still use tapes.
Well, the chat kind of blew up there. While we're waiting for somebody to come back in, Absolute Mayhem asked a question. Johnny, when's the last gig you played live? The other night, right here on YouTube. That was live.
Yeah, just the other night. The other night. But as far as actually having to pack up the car and go somewhere, I would say it was that gig in Oakland.
Oscar night?
Whenever that was. What month is that?
Is that like back in March?
February? April? February, March, somewhere?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oscars. That's right, Steve. Yeah, that was the last time. You know. But here on YouTube, you can play anytime.
Sure.
Go live anytime you want.
Yep. And depending on what apparatus you use to go live, you can look right-handed or left-handed.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. Is that still left-handed?
Oh yeah. Yeah, it's been like what, 4 or 5 months now, I think.
Mm-hmm.
It's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
I think the camera.
There he is.
How you guys doing?
Hey.
Doing well. How you doing?
So apparently Skype was hogging my camera, even though Skype wasn't. I guess the service was running, but it wasn't like front and center. So I didn't think it was running, but apparently it was running in the background.
Mm-hmm.
What are you guys doing?
Well, we're just chatting gear, answering questions from the chat.
I appreciate
just hang out.
I appreciate the last minute. Excuse me. I appreciate the last minute invitation.
Yeah, not a problem. Not a problem.
Mayhem. Hello, R2R3. Got some familiar faces in here. I did just put this on Facebook, by the way.
Oh,
So,
well, thank you very much.
see how that goes. JJ, Steve, Guitar Hack, Larry Riker, Todd Flowers, of course.
Hey, Hunter. I haven't seen you in a while, buddy. Good to see you.
So, what are you guys up to? What are you talking about?
David Stafford actually just happened to ask me, I have a custom guitar coming this week, and he was asking who I ordered it through, and that was from my buddy Travis, who owns renofin.ca guitars, or Renofin guitars, out of Victoria, BC, and he's building me a P90 Telecaster.
Nice. Very cool.
So I'm looking forward to it very much. Hopefully I'll have it by Thursday, our weekly show. We'll see if I can show it off. Maybe we'll have Travis on the show, all depending on his logistics. So he's flying in to deliver a couple of guitars here, because he's originally from here.
May I ask what a street price on something like that goes for?
I think for something like that, he would charge in around 1,700 Canadian, so about $12.50 US. Cheers.
Cheers, everyone. Okay, that's I think 12 American is a good price for a good guitar. You know, you hit that lower. I'm struggling right now on a guitar that I'm interested in, but it's too much. New, it's about 27. Artist, it's about 19, and I'm at about 12.
Nice.
So I'm struggling with that. That's why I always wonder, you know. There's got to be a range that makes sense, you know.
Well, it's just a guy building them out of his house, right? So it's not like he has a name that he can charge a fee for use of his name, essentially, you know, as you build up a reputation. And it just happened that when I started the channel, he came on as a channel sponsor, and the deal was, you know, kind of thing like, hey, you give me shout outs, and when you're ready to get a piece made, you know, let me know. And so I'm getting it essentially for his cost, which is awesome.
Yep.
You know, can't complain about that. And
I could complain about an artist price or an accommodation price, you know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And what was it? About 4 weeks ago, I found out he had a pickup winder, and he's been building his own pickups. So we're gonna design a signature set of pickups for a guy with 400 subscriber YouTube channel. But why not?
Hey man, it's how it all starts. It's
exactly.
You know, YouTube is like a plant or a flower. It grows. You know, if you care and feed it, it grows. You know, so in that respect, your buddy's actually smart because, you know, I think it's hard for a company today to predict, you know, what might be good. You know, where do you invest? And usually I think investing is, you know, someone taught me a long time ago, where do you invest? Well, you invest in the things you like. If he likes your channel, it's a good place to invest, right?
Sure.
You know?
Yeah. And it's just a local boy that, you know, moved out west like a lot of people do. And actually my sister, if she's still in the chat, she actually went to school with him from like kindergarten right through 12th grade.
Nice.
So, yeah. And so, like, I've known him since he was 5 years old, and we kept in touch. So, you know, I liked what he was doing, so I really wanted to plug what he was doing because I thought, hey, if I can sell a guitar for him, why not? Great Tone. Oh, yes, Caleb wants to do the Great Tone 99 pickup, like Gretzky. The great one, except capitalize the T. I love it.
What's the big Canadian guitar brands out there? There's don't tell me. I know I asked the question, but one of them is someone actually just asked me the other night if I own one of them. It's oh crap, it's totally slipping my mind. Well, I know there's Seagull. That's Canadian, but there's an electric guitar company. Godin.
Company that
Godin, right? Godin.
Yes.
I'm not pronouncing it correct though, am I?
As a Canadian, we would say Godin.
Okay.
Because they're based in Quebec. And Godin actually owns Seagull. That's their acoustic division.
Okay, interesting. Was that always the case, or was that recent?
Nope, that's as long as I can remember. And then I heard now, like, Godin is doing a lot of U.S. assembly on their stuff. It's
Really?
Canadian parts, but it's, yeah.
I had a bad experience with a Godin. I played one many years ago, and just to call it what it is, it was used in the back of a Guitar Center, and it was an inexpensive model. So my experience, I tried one because I didn't have one. I was like, oh, this isn't so good. But again, what I'm judging it based off of may not be fair to Godin. But I did play a Seagull once or several times, and beautiful, gorgeous guitars. Yeah. The way they play, just everything about it, I really liked it. I didn't buy it because I wasn't really in the market for an acoustic, but what a great guitar. If I had to buy an acoustic guitar right now, Seagull would probably be on the top 3, you know, brands I would look at.
Sure. Yeah, they sound amazing. I don't like the narrow headstock. I'm a headstock snob. That's my problem.
Yeah. It's not a bad. I've seen worse narrow headstocks. It's not bad.
Yeah, and it makes sense because they do the narrow, so you don't have a string break, you know, at the nut. All the strings go straight through.
Yep.
What kind of acoustic guitars do you guys have?
That would be the Seagull. They have another line as well, like a sister line to Seagull that it's escaping me right now. We have Prestige guitars out of BC. I think they're doing a Henning Pauly signature guitar. Seems to me that's I'm trying to think of another acoustic. Larrivee, yes. They're very nice, high end. Art and Luthery. Yes, thank you. Art and Luthery. That's another under the Godin.
And Ben, you're in Santa Cruz, right?
Me? No, Johnny's in Santa Cruz.
No. I'm sorry. I meant to say Johnny.
Yeah. I'm in Santa Cruz. Yeah.
That's what I meant to say. So you have Santa Cruz Guitar Company right in your backyard, right?
I believe so.
Any good?
I've never actually played one.
Really?
I've only seen them at NAMM. You know, at the show.
You're in their backyard. I mean, they should be investing in you.
Yeah, I should go walk over there.
I wanted to try one. I never really had an opportunity to try one, but yeah, that's exciting. I don't know. They're not so. It's interesting for an American brand. It's not a very big brand, you know. But I'd be curious to try one out. You know, you'd think they'd be more readily available, but then again, I don't know the price point. I don't know much about them. I only know about Santa Cruz because I used to work for a technology company that used to be in Santa Cruz many moons ago. So familiar with the area. Gorgeous area.
Cool. Oh, so you've been out here?
Several times, yeah. In fact, I don't remember the name of the hotel. The hotel I used to stay at was like in a cove, so you got to see the sunrise instead of the sunset. It was kind of surreal being in California. Do you know what I'm talking about? Huh. Wasn't too far from the boardwalk. It's a pretty popular hotel, at least for someone not in Santa Cruz. It was pretty popular. I just don't remember the name of it. Santa Cruz, something or other. I don't know.
But it was by the boardwalk, though.
Not far from the boardwalk.
Okay.
It was in the bay. There was like literally a bay where they would do surfing and stuff. It wasn't like on the main beach. It was in a cove type of thing. But
cool. Yeah. I've been here for about 3 years.
Oh, where'd you move there from?
And before here, I was in a town called Walnut Creek.
I heard of Walnut Creek.
Walnut Creek, California.
They make
and
wine,
then,
don't they?
huh?
Isn't that a wine brand also?
Could be. Could
Okay.
be. Yeah.
I think you're right.
And then before that, I was in Oakland. Lived in Oakland. Lived in Berkeley, California, for a lot of years.
So you're a California guy.
And, pretty much. I've been out here about 25 years, I guess.
Wow. Okay. It's a long time.
Originally from Arizona.
Nice. Yeah, I took my family on a California trip. I'm in Jersey. Last summer, we flew into San Francisco. 2 weeks later, we flew out of San Diego. So we did the whole Pacific Coast.
Nice.
Needless to say, at the end of the vacation, my wife and I were asking ourselves why we live in New Jersey and not California. It's beautiful over there.
Yeah.
At least what we saw was beautiful,
Yeah.
I know every place has their so-so spots, but we hit probably some of the most gorgeous spots California has to offer. I wish we would have gone a little north of San Francisco to like Redwoods and stuff, but we just did San Francisco to San Diego. San Diego was wonderful, But nice.
Yeah, it's nice down there. I've played on tour down to San Diego before. I think that's the farthest I've been south, I think.
I don't think you could go further south than San Diego. Maybe Chula Vista, if you want to split hairs.
Yeah.
We actually went down. My kids got a kick out of it. We literally went as far as you could go. And so they saw the Border Patrol. What's interesting is if you go far, you see the mountainside of Mexico. And there's like a big flag, big Mexican flag up on the mountain that you could see, whatever that highway is. Tons of Border Patrol. And then they have the outlets, which my kids enjoyed. Literally, you could see the border right where like the outlets are. It's pretty interesting,
Wow.
Yeah. The only time I went to Mexico, I went through Texas.
Oh, okay.
So I was on tour about 10 years ago with the band, and we played, Dallas, Houston, Austin, and then went straight down to what's it called? It's Monterrey. Is it Monterrey? Okay. Monterrey, Mexico. And yeah, once you cross through there, it's a different world. Totally different.
Yep. I had my honeymoon in Mexico, and it was nice. I haven't been back since. But we went to Cozumel. I think we went to Cozumel. It was great. You're right. Totally different place, but I haven't been back since. I've been out of the country since, just not to Mexico. It was fun. I remember having a lot of fun there.
Yeah.
Very nice.
And of course, I've been to Canada quite a bit, mostly Toronto. I went to Quebec once. Toronto's a lot of fun.
It is. I live 100 miles east of Toronto.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah, I used to gig downtown Toronto a fair amount about 3 years ago, I guess.
Okay.
Every 2 or 3 weeks, downtown club.
So east of Toronto is what, Ontario?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. Basically, we're considered just on the tip of eastern Ontario, whereas Toronto's more central Ontario.
Gotcha. Okay.
So Montreal's about 3.5 hours east of me.
Montreal was a lot of fun. I was actually really impressed with the airport. Huge airport. I feel like it was bigger than the Toronto airport. But I've always had fun. Montreal had charm.
Yes.
You know?
Yeah.
Toronto is nice, but I think Montreal had a little bit more charm. You know, it was very old looking.
Yeah. Yeah. Definitely more European influence and flair in Quebec. Like what you would get in Montreal, you can triple it if you go to Quebec City.
Right.
Especially old Quebec City. It's just beautiful. You know, it'd be like, I guess like if they didn't remodel New York City for 200 years, you know, they would add on rather than replace. So, but unfortunately, you know, obviously New York City's on an, you know, Manhattan's on an island, and there's only so much real estate, right?
Right. Frank C says, "Don't fly through Toronto. Not good. Why is that?"
Very busy. It's one of the busiest airports in the world, and some of the highest slip fees too. So it's expensive to fly in and out of Pearson.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. Hey,
All
Terry.
I know is the first time I was I've been to Toronto many times, but the last few years more recently than not. And the first time in the last few years that I flew back into the U.S. from Toronto, the wait was insane. So I immediately got the global entry, and then you could literally walk in. I should have gotten Nexus, so I could go both ways.
Right.
But I wound up. I think Nexus. You have to be a Canadian for Nexus. Or maybe a U.S. citizen can get Nexus. I don't remember, but I got just returning home, which was still good.
Sure.
Seems like always getting into Toronto is easier than getting out of Toronto.
Yeah.
You know, so I got the global entry, and man, just did wonders. It
Nice.
it cut it down from about 2 hours to get, you know, through customs to 20 minutes. You know?
Beautiful.
That's cool.
I don't know, January will be the first time I'm flying since 1993. So
Really?
I know I'm going to be in for a rude awakening. Yeah,
Wow.
I just generally I prefer to drive. Like I went to Gearfest this year. It was an 8.5 hour drive. I was like, sure, got up, had a coffee, hit the road. I was there by dinner time.
How'd you like Gearfest?
Loved it. Absolutely loved it.
Cool.
Yeah. We had myself and my co-host of our weekly show. We had gone to one north of Toronto, very similar setup that Cosmo Music put on, and it was literally 1/10, or maybe not 1/10, but 1/8 the size. Except they had more concerts going on. Like whereas Gearfest had clinics during the day, Cosmo's Music Fest, they literally had classic rock, famous people playing all day into the evening. So a lot of famous Canadian guys. Richie Kotzen did a set as well as a clinic earlier in the day. Yeah, really cool stuff.
I've been to Sweetwater, but I haven't been to the actual Gearfest event. I went to the PRS event this year. That was cool.
I heard that was good.
I don't know if I'd go back, to be frank with you, because I feel like that's once you see it, you've seen it, unless you're just a PRS nut. You know, usually you want to see a little bit of variety, but it was good. If you're a hardcore PRS fan, that's the place to go for sure.
Sure.
But you know what's nice about like NAMM is you get to see something different every year. You know, that type of.
Yeah. Well, that was kind of like what I was told, because I haven't been to NAMM yet, but I did register today. You missed that because you had come in late. I actually did register.
I heard that while I was trying to get everything sorted out.
Cool. Yeah. So from what I'd heard, people that have done both events, they preferred Gearfest in many ways because there's so many less people, but you still have all the names are there. You know, like Brian Wampler's in his booth, Dave Friedman's in his booth.
I guess you could buy things at Gearfest, right?
And you can buy exactly because it's all products that Sweetwater carries that are there. And if you're like me, you ignore all that. You go to the flea market tent they had set up, and you walk out with a 1985 Kramer.
Wow, is that a real from 1985?
It is. It is. Yeah.
I don't understand. So how did they have that in what is the flea market tent?
They had they have all these exhibition tents set up with the various vendors, and then they had another tent set up where local pawn shops, guitar collectors had a mini guitar show. Which, yeah, you would think for a retail store, you're basically taking money out of your own pocket by any sales that they generate.
Yeah.
And so, while the majority of the crowd was watching Nita Strauss do her guitar clinic, I wandered over to the flea market and bought a Kramer.
Oh, that's awesome. What'd you pay for that, if you don't mind me asking?
$250 US.
No.
Yeah. And it's what Focus 6000, 1985
Can I see it?
Focus
Can you hold it
6000.
up?
Sure.
That's a great deal.
Yeah,
Those-
I didn't even tell you that deal, did I, Johnny?
That's
I don't know, but those guitars, those are always
They're all,
always been great.
yes. We'll do the presentation there. So there we go. So this is, yeah. It's got the German Floyd. I replaced Seymour Duncan. Johnny was the first to point that out to me. Beautiful shape. And yeah.
beautiful. Congratulations.
Thank you very much. We've done the only modifications. I put a D-tuner on it.
Mm-hmm.
And we just installed last weekend the Sean Silas Borns Audio volume pot.
Nice.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Which, thank you, Sean Silas and Michael Smith, for sending me.
Mm-hmm. I was there. I was there when Michael got those. We were standing right there watching Sean play.
Right. Right. That's awesome.
I got a couple of those, and I put one in my my other Wolfgang.
They work great.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. They're awesome.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm really. And the funny part is, Lewis, you don't know. I'm more of a hardtail player, like Tellys and Les Pauls, for years and years.
Mm-hmm.
And then I discovered, like, you know, I'd watch your stuff. You know, I'm like, oh yeah, you know, Charvel's cool. You know, BC Rich is cool, but you know, it's not my thing. But I can respect it. Then I started hanging out with Johnny Beane last November, I'd say.
Mm-hmm.
And next thing you know, I got a Kramer, and I've been gigging. That's been basically my number one gigging guitar since I got the thing. And I play in a middle of the road rock, like classic rock band. We do Beatles, Traveling Wilburys, Tom Petty stuff.
Nice.
And here I am rocking, you know, the Candy Apple Red Kramer. Why not?
I have a BC Rich ST3 that looks just like your Kramer. In fact, if you change the logo on the headstock, they almost look identical. You know.
Nice.
Definitely reminiscent of the era. You know. It's fun.
And I love your BC Rich Telly.
Oh, you know about that one, huh?
I watch your videos, man. I told you in the message. I've been watching your videos for years.
That was the guitar that I sold and bought twice, right? I think, is that the black and white one? Yeah, yeah. That was an interesting guitar because, well, you know the video, right? I bought it, sold it, wound up buying it back from the guy that I sold it to. You know? And the funny thing is he actually improved it.
Right, right.
He had, I don't know what they're called, on the back. You know when the strings feed through, you have like the ferrules or whatever they're called?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
They put new one, those in. There was something else that was wrong with it. Oh, I think the tone pot was cracked off when I sold it, and one of the ferrules was missing, so it was mismatched. Right. He changed those. He changed the tone pot, and he also put in graphite saddles. I mean, he actually. Wow. I bought it back, and it was better than it was when I sold it. Which was crazy. Yeah.
Did you get it back for the same price?
You know, maybe a tiny bit more, not much. If I sold it, and I'm making things up, if I sold it for $3, I got it for $3.50. It was like one of those, you know.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Just to covers PayPal and shipping fees, you know, that type of thing. Because I found it on eBay. One day I just woke up and I'm like, I wish I had that guitar. And boom, it was on eBay being sold by the guy I bought it from. You know, you can't make this stuff up. And of course, you know, I again, using the example, if I sold it for $3, he had it up for like $5. And so I emailed him. You know, I was very honest. I just said, hey, you know, I was the guy that sold it to you. I'd love it back. And he was like, hey, just give me like $3.50, something like that.
Right.
You know, just to make it a wash. And, you know, it worked out. I don't think he would have gotten his asking price anyway. So it worked out, you know.
Let's see here. I had a couple of comments. Zach Thong, which you guys, who you all know, he's from just up the road from me. He says Cosmo Music Fest was fun. And then Dave Byron says, hey, Ben, did you see my video today? Yeah, he came across a 79 Fender Twin Silverface with the push-pull master volume. 135 watt job. Yeah, I saw that. That was very cool. Very cool. Would like to hear him play through it. Very cool. Those things are so loud and so heavy. Man.
What's that Marshall head you have behind you?
That is an 80s Marshall Lead 100 MOFSET.
A MOFSET. Wow. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. You know,
I
what is
bet
it there?
that thing sounds
Solid
really
state.
good, too.
Oh, yeah. Sounds like a JCM, but solid state, you know. So you miss a little, but.
Yeah, you don't miss that much.
No, I picked that up for my best friend, and because he wasn't driving at the time, so I picked it up, took it to his place, and he plugged a Les Paul into it, and we plugged into a 412 cab, or 410 cab, actually.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, he played it, and he's like, oh, this is cool. And then he walked across the room to grab a drink or something like that. And I redid the EQ stack, and I played Def Leppard's Photograph, and he damn near dropped his bottle of water because he was like, that's the tone. I'm like, Steve Clark in a box.
Yeah, that's nice.
Yeah.
I had the older lead 12s. I had several lead 12s, several reverb 12s, which are like the little 1x10 combos. Those things sound phenomenal.
Oh, yeah.
They sound really good. You know, it's one of those you don't know what you have till it's gone things. That's a Marshall solid state amp from the 80s. They just sound really good.
Yeah.
And you don't
pick them up for a song.
What do you say?
You can pick them up for a song.
Absolutely. They're probably one of the best deals you could get for a couple of $100. You have one of the most iconic sounds in rock and roll.
Oh, yeah.
Out of those solid state Marshalls. Today, I don't know. I don't know if I would say the same holds true today.
Right.
You know?
No. Yeah, it seems like a lot of especially the solid state guitar stuff is really designed for the real new metal, hot, you know, real ultra gain crunch, and it's very targeted. You don't get the variety of tones out of them, I find, as much.
Yeah.
And hey, Guitar Girl. I don't think I said hi to her earlier.
Man said Marshall Class 5, the Plexi. I own 2 Class 5s. I wound up selling both. But I still have a lead 12. You know, it's just weird. It's I don't know. Some of the newer stuff I've been so
excuse me.
And I don't know. Is it a function of we're getting old, so we like the older stuff a little better? I don't know. If we were 15, would we like the newer stuff better? You know what I mean?
Right. Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have much experience with Marshall, Johnny?
Not owning, but basically being 15 and being at the Guitar Center and cranking them. Yeah. But no, I never owned. The only head that I've ever owned is the 5150.
Right.
You know.
But I just bought a vintage piece of gear. I could tell you what it is, but if you want to show and tell, I could go get it if you want to see something cool.
Oh, I'd love to see it. I love vintage gear.
I'll be right back. Give me a second.
Okay.
Hey, Johnny.
Hey, man. All those amps, dang.
I know.
I've only owned probably like 5 amps in my life. You know.
And you still have at least 2 of them. Well, 3 of them.
For main ones, only like 2. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just
you have your classic crate. I can see it hiding there around the couch.
Oh yeah. Yeah, that was my first amp. My first one. Got that one. I've had several different little practice amps like that, you know, over the years that I've used for like workbench amps and stuff. And but as far as main amplifiers, the PV 5150 and then the Fender 212 that I have.
Right.
Those are the only 2 amps, main amps I've really only owned. You know.
Well, you got good amps. You don't need a variety, right?
No. I mean,
I think basically we do the same thing. We just use a nice high headroom clean amp and run our pedal boards into them anyways.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and these days, if I wanted to, I could just use the Fender 212, put on the 5150 overdrive pedal, and get something kind of close to the other amp.
Yeah.
You know?
Uh-oh. I'm just looking at that grin.
All right, you ready? Here we go.
Yep.
Check this out.
Oh, no way.
So
Here, I got to present this. Oh, jeez. High school all over again.
yeah, exactly.
Wow.
So this
SGX 2000. Wow.
SGX 2000, and it surprisingly enough sounds crazy good. And take a guess. What did I pay for this? Back in the day when this was new, this was $850 in like 91. What do you think I paid for this? With the MIDI controller.
Oh, with the MIDI controller?
Yeah.
500 bucks?
Oh, not even close. Oh, Fresno got it right. $120 with shipping.
No way.
Yeah.
$1.20.
Wow.
$120.
That's crazy.
And it sounds surprisingly good. It's funny. I was reading the manual on it, and
all right, I'm changing my actual guess to 375 because I was saying 500 Canadian. So
there you go. And it's I guess it was from an original owner. It came with the MIDI controller, the manual, the original manual to that, plus the controller, and you know, it sounds pretty good. So it's funny. I was reading through like the literature, and it was like, you know, it was cutting edge at the time. Interestingly enough, all the distortion in there is analog, not digital. Really? And some of the effects, like compression, some of the effects are also analog. Only like the reverb and the delays are digital. Nice. Which I thought was interesting because today in the world of modeling, everything is digital. Few companies like PV Viper is one of the few companies I'm aware of that make that sort of like multi-effect thing, but keep the distortions analog. And what's funny, what made me laugh was the effects that are on there are 8-bit digital. 8-bit.
Wow.
Nice. And what's funny is it sounds pretty good. So it's wondering, do you really need 24-bit? I don't know.
Yeah. You know, you could be that snob, right? I use rack gear, but I'll only use 8-bit
right
digital. You know, like
a whole other conversation right there.
Yeah, yeah. To really get that tone, you really got to go with the 8-bit digital.
I go with the 8-bit.
Well, I will say between you doing, what was that, about 6 months ago when you did the rack, you redid the rack setup.
Yeah.
And I remember you went live and you're playing through it, and I was like, that's a tone you can't quite get that tone unless you have the actual gear. And then R2 just recently posted a video of his old rack unit and going over what's left in the rack. And I think it was on Monday or Tuesday last week that I happened to be in a pawn shop, and the guy's got 4 or 5 pieces of rack gear. So I took a photo and I sent it to R2 saying, hey, buddy, you know, you need anything to replace your empty rack space. He goes, what's the price on that Roland? There was a Roland digital delay unit with modulation. And he's like, dude, like if you can snag that up for $100, you know, or less, you know, that's a good deal. And I said, dude, it's priced at 100 Canadian. So that's like $70 US. He's really? And I'm like, yeah, and I could probably get it for a song because it's been sitting there for almost 2 years.
It's just amazing how cheap some of that stuff, like that, again, that was $850 new. The stuff that holds its value is the stuff you would expect to hold its value, like a Mesa quad preamp. Those are still like almost $1,000. A Mesa studio preamp, a Marshall JMP1, even the Carvin Quad X, which was the studio ripoff. It was like the hybrid between the studio and the quad.
Right.
$400 or $500. In my opinion, that's gear that's held its value.
I think part of it is because it's still being, you know, you look at the modern rig rundowns, right? And there's basically, you still have your rack unit, but it's a tray of pedals. Yeah. You have your rack mounted wireless system, but they still have the rack mounted either a wah quite often because they're using remote wahs on the big stages, and a JMP1 or like a Mesa or something along those lines. People are still using the rack mounted for the most part.
The one piece of gear I would encourage everyone to go buy if you don't have one, you'll love it. It hasn't held its value is the ADA MP1. Great preamp, but you could buy one in mint condition for $250.
Mm-hmm.
Just to put that in contrast, those were selling for $1,000 new, I think, like $800 new.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's people were selling those for the ADA. And
Right.
I'll tell you, nothing comes close. That also had analog distortion. I think it had analog chorus too. But the ADA was that's what killed a lot of the stuff that was that ADA MP1 is what crushed a lot of the gear that was in Rex, you know, because that was I was actually just reading an article about the Metaltronics. Remember the brand Metaltronics by Lee Jackson?
Yes. Okay.
So Metaltronics was, I want to say the first, but let's say one of the, because I don't know who came before them, one of the first rack preamps, and Zach Wilde was using them. Like a whole bunch of artists were using them. And that was the go-to, was the Metaltronics. And then the article I was reading was the owner saying once that ADA MP3 came, or the ADA MP, what is it? MP?
MP1?
MP1, thank you. I'm thinking of MP3.
Yeah. R2 still owns one, apparently.
The MP1, he said he literally went out of business overnight. When that came out, people said, what do you need a single channel rack preamp for? That was 128 channels. He went out of business. He said, I just, at that point, that put him out of business. You know?
Wow.
And I think even some of the good stuff, I remember, not recently, but reading ads back in the day, Metallica started using the MP1s. Because, again, you have 4 sounds out of a quad, you get 128 out of the ADA, and you sound really good.
Mm-hmm.
You know? But I think that was the quintessential game changer of rack gear, was that ADA MP1. And you could get them for a song today.
Right. Get
that with the foot controller. You could have a lot. I look at that, like the only reason why I bought that, you know, it's like, you ever go out and with the family, you spend $100 on something, whatever it is. That was me taking myself out.
Exactly.
It was just the pure entertainment of plugging into something different, turning some dials, just to see what something that's 25 years old sounds like. And
Sure.
I was pretty impressed. Would I take it on out like to tour and to jam? Never.
No.
But it was fun, you know. It's like buying a case of beer, you know.
Oh yeah. Well, you know, it's like collecting pedals when you can collect rack gear for the cost of a pedal or two. Why not, right?
Crazy.
Yeah.
It's crazy. But that was fun. Now I'm curious to plug into a Digitech 2120. That was the competing thing to that.
Right.
You know.
Yeah. You'll be the only guy in 2018 if you track one down. You do the shootout, right?
Right. The ART SGX versus the Digitech 2120.
Preface it, yeah, just preface it a bit. You know, I may be a little late to the party on this demo.
Wait,
However,
hold on, is my iPhone working? What year is going on?
So did you say you owned one of those back in the day?
I never owned the 2120. The only Digitech gear that I owned from back in the day was a TSR 12, which was a straight up single space multi-effect unit, probably 8-bit, but it sounds really good. In fact, that's in my big rack, which is now wheeled back over there. I was playing it the other day. You know, like you said, nothing sounds like it.
No. And you were grabbing the right guitars, you were plugging it through the right setup, so it's like, okay, you know, like, am I watching a rig rundown from 1991?
Yeah.
It's awesome.
But it's fun. But I'll tell you, I think if I was gigging, which I'm not, but if I was, I'd probably just take, you know, a half stack of my choice, a handful of pedals. You know, in fact, I'm very delinquent on a lot of videos I want to do. In fact, when you sent me the invite to join you, you actually got me off the hook because I was thinking about, you know, what videos I want to cut tonight, because I have so many topics I'm just behind on. And one of them is, you know, like a top 5 effects that I want to do. But the way I look at it is, you know, when you look at a pedal, it's a lot of people just use what's in. I always look at what goes in the loop and what stays on the board in front of you. So it's really kind of 2 pedal boards. But you know, with distortion and overdrive, reverb and delay in the loop, I don't know. You're kind of there, depending on what you're playing through. But a half stack is, I still like a half stack, you know. I know a lot of people doing the Kemper things live, and they're doing the Axe Effects things live, feeding into like a front of house, you know, that type of thing, that type of setup. I'd still probably have a real amp on stage. I was going, not recently, but a few years ago, I was going to the studio regularly with some local guys here, and just plug it into a half stack. I'll tell you, there's nothing you can't do. You know, if you just have a good amp that serves you well.
Oh, it's like we were discussing earlier. I just use like my Fender Blues Deluxe reissue, clean, tons of headroom, and I just bring a big pedal board because playing 4 sets of covers, I'm going to have to get, you know, a variety of tones over the course of the night. So I have my 3 different go-to overdrives. So you're not having to twiddle with pedals and stuff like that. So, cool. And I'm a snob that way where, you know, I like the distortion from this company, the phase from that company, a delay from a third company. Which they're getting better with it, like the Helix and stuff like that. I will admit, JJ has just about has me convinced to try out a Helix. So,
by the way, question for Johnny. I don't know if it's me, but Ben, when you talk, I see a delay. Is that just me, or is that? Are you seeing that also, Johnny?
I'm seeing it as well.
Got it. Okay.
In the set, yeah, that would be my limited bandwidth. And I'm actually hardwired tonight. I've been wireless previously, which was really bad. But
it's not bad. I just noticed when you stopped talking, I still heard the voice, which was, I didn't know, because it's funny. Everyone always beats me up over it. Every time I do a live show, it's like the first live show I've ever done. You know, there's always something that goes wrong. In fact, same here. Recently, I just hardwired in. I literally ran a cable from my second floor all the way down right into my laptop that I'm on right now. I think it's been getting a little bit better, but it's just, you know, when you're keeping these streams up for like X period of time, it doesn't matter how good the connection is. It seems like there's always a weak link, like a hiccup somewhere along the way. Happens to me every time.
I was just telling Ben, right, either before we started or when we started, I'm used to hosting these things, you know, myself, like 2 days a week or whatever. I'm never like on the other side like this.
Right.
So to me, it's very strange. It's almost like I'm sitting here for the first time, even though I've been doing these things for years, just on the other side, you know.
There's an old expression, by the way, EVH Gear TV. He's got like the best live stream format, I think, of all of us. He's got like the way he frames it, like it's just looks like you're watching television. Does a nice job with that. But anyway, I was starting to say there's an old expression that says integrity is what you do when nobody's looking. Did you ever hear that one?
Yep.
So one time, this is the reason why I said that. One time I was live streaming with Doug from Jet City here. And it's funny because I was using my Sling Studio, which is like my multicam switcher, has its own Wi-Fi. So for some reason, my laptop, I lost the Wi-Fi on my laptop, but that still had its internet connection. So I was telling Doug, something's wrong. Like, we're down. I don't have an internet. Now everybody's still chatting to us. It's like, dude, we hear you and we still see you. But because that was up, but I couldn't see that because something was wrong with my laptop. So it's funny because we were troubleshooting this, thinking nobody could see us or hear us. Think about how dangerous that could be, right?
Yeah.
And it's funny, like a 5 minutes, like with a check this cable, I'll reboot this, and like 5 minutes, everything just came back up, and everyone was then telling us, it's like, dude, we saw you the whole time, we heard everything, and at that point, we looked at each other like, we didn't say anything bad, did we? We were like, no, it was pretty clean, you know. I don't even think we said a bad word. It was that. So.
Yeah, when you do this, when you're a live streamer, whether it's on the phone or whatever, always assume it's on.
Right.
Always. Even you know, it's like a lot of times, you know, you'll go to the bathroom, public places, you'll see people on their phones looking down. What, you know? And I'm thinking, who knows what if there's someone on the other end of that? What they see, you know?
I think today now more than ever, you have to assume that there's always a camera. Doesn't matter what you do. If you see that nickel on the floor, that could be a joke that somebody is putting on YouTube. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
The dollar with the wire.
The dollar with the
The fishing wire.
I think today we live in an age where you walk out, it's public domain, and anybody could be recording anything they want.
That's true.
That's the way I look at it, especially doing this. I'm very aware of it. You know, it's crazy. That's why the news, I don't want to get into news or politics. I'll just say this and leave it there. That's why, like, the news shocks me over and over again. Like, just the stupid stuff that people do getting caught on camera. It's like, really? You know?
Yeah.
Like, you always have to assume that there's...
Yeah.
I mean,
where have you been for 20 years?
Everybody has a camera in their pocket. Everybody.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Exactly.
And half of those people are vlogging on YouTube.
Yep. That's the truth. That's the truth.
Oh, man.
Yeah. Yeah, but especially if you go outside, you know, if you're in a public place, more than likely there's a camera on you wherever you are.
Well, it's shocking just to see how public cameras are solving local mysteries of hit and runs. It's like, oh, we caught it on the camera. It's like, really? Cameras that could read license plates that are like on the streets of New York City that you don't see. Think about that.
Yep. And they can go through, say, okay, well, it took us 26 cameras, but now they're across town over here.
Pretty amazing, actually. It's pretty amazing.
That's true.
Mm-hmm.
I had a conversation with someone a long time ago. We were talking about cash. When does cash go away? Right? Because think of it. You have PayPal. Like now you have Bitcoin and you have all these electronic methods. And this guy in our conversation said to me, it'll never go away. And I said, why? He said, because, you know, it allows you a bit of, you know, to be anonymous, right? If you want to spend money on something and you don't want to trace it, it's anonymous, whatever that is, right? And it's like, yeah, but what about all the cash? Yeah, the transaction may be anonymous, but you're probably being recorded, you know. Crazy.
Yeah.
All right, back to guitars now.
Well, we do have a computer question. You guys like laptops or desktops for music stuff and streaming?
All laptops.
I just have a laptop myself.
All laptops. Dad, ask me why. Everyone's going to say why.
Why?
Because you could bring a laptop with you.
Exactly.
I've gone to too many NAMMs. I'm going to my second GitCon in October, and I fold it up and I bring it with me. Yep. So everything I could do right here, I could do wherever I go with a laptop. Now, of course, with a desktop, you'll always get more horsepower, always. But I'll tell you, I'm on a, you know, if you make a good investment, like I have, if you guys are curious to know, this here, I'm on an Alienware, which has an Intel Extreme processor. It's an older one. They don't even make them with Intel Extreme anymore. And it's done everything. It's rendered 4K. It's allowed me to live stream. I have no problems. And then when I bought my Mac, maybe a year ago now, I think the thing is you just want to get the best one you could get at the time you're getting it.
Yeah.
So I got whatever the best processor was, because it's all processing. It's not even memory. You know, if you get a good processor on a good laptop, it'll last you many years.
I agree.
Yeah. But by the way, you know, I don't know if you guys use Macs. The rendering time on on Final Cut Pro is nothing compared to Windows.
Oh, yeah.
And what do you use, Windows or Mac?
I'm using a Windows system. This is like an 8 or 10-year-old laptop I use.
What do you use to render your videos? Do your videos with?
I just shoot everything on my phone, and most of it's live or just one take. And if I do have to do any kind of edits, I just use iMovie on my phone. And then if the file's too big, I'll just transfer it over to the laptop and then let it upload to YouTube from there.
Wow. How about you, Johnny?
I have all Windows.
Really?
Windows here. Yeah.
So what do you use to edit video?
I either use on my Windows system, I use Adobe. What is it? Premiere. Yeah, the latest Adobe, or just the phone.
Wow, a lot more people are using the phone.
Mm-hmm.
The first person that told me about the phone was Philip McKnight. He told me last year at GitCon that all the videos he did, I guess from that, now he does everything on a Mac. He did on his phone, and I'm like, really? He's like, do it all on my phone. I'm like, it was like shocking for me to hear.
Well, I think somebody was telling me that Phil, the first year he did his channel, it was all done on his phone.
All done on his phone. It was shocking for me to hear. I couldn't believe it.
Oh, I can believe now. The biggest thing is I think this is an iPhone 6, I think. And
that's what I
was at a live music event, and in the past you go to record somebody, it's just distorted and stuff like that. And I was
got it down. Now you can record. It won't clip.
It was a full-blown metal band, and I'm standing 6 feet in front of them and shooting close-ups, everything, and it wasn't isolating one instrument over another. Yeah, like I say, it wasn't clipping, wasn't distorting. But then I could turn around, walk 20 feet, and we could yell over top of the music, and you could still hear us fine too and stuff, talking or whatever. It was crazy. And the whole thing, with going live too, like that's what 99% of my channel's live. So
I started doing more live probably in the last year or so than I ever have. I used to do live the last Friday of every month. That was my live thing. And then just to be honest with you, doing a canned video takes a lot out of me. I don't enjoy it that much. I'd rather do it live because we get to do this sort of thing. Yeah. Where when you're making a video, and I still do it, but when you're making a video that's, not live, it's just, for me, it's not as much fun. So, yeah.
And the audience, everything has to be live now. That's what everybody wants.
So that was that's why I bought the Sling Studio thing over here. And I can't even say it's a shameless plug. I paid full pop for it, right? But if you guys are doing live, you may want to maybe get one of those under the Christmas tree for you one year.
Yeah, yeah. You've got that different element to your live streams where you're like, oh, here, check this out, and you can do an overhead of a pedal or something like that.
Not only that, but it has audio mixing, so I could kill my vocal mic, and you just have like the 2 notes right into that or something like that. Right. It allows you to do a full-on demo live.
Yeah.
There's nothing.
Yeah, when I remember like the 2 live streams as far as production. It's like for video, you with the multicam, and then of course Steve from Boston has the audio down.
He's got the licks, man.
He does, right?
Yeah.
It's just sick.
His audio is it's probably I'll go so far to say it's the best I think I've heard audio-wise. He's got it down.
Yeah. And he's got that radio voice too, which just helps, right? He's got a killer guitar tone, and he's got that radio voice too.
Right.
Hey, Buddy Holly, Bumble Bass.
You could do that multicam, multi-audio for free with OBS. It's not as slick as the hardware, but it works. Steve from Boston uses OBS. He actually spent a little bit of time with me working with OBS, and I'm technical. I wasn't getting it. He's more technical than I am. It's funny. We both have IT backgrounds, but he's got me beat on that. I tried. In fact, when he was here, we tried doing it, and it just turned out. We wound up reverting, and I think at the time I was using Adobe Encoder or something. I haven't used that in a long time. I do Google Hangout for this sort of thing, but if I'm by myself going live where I want a demo, I use the Sling Studio, and that sets up its own stream. That's all part of the hit and go on.
Huh. And you use OBS as well, right, Johnny? When you go live and play?
Yeah, I do now. Yeah, I've been using Hangouts ever since Hangout started.
Right.
What was that? 2011, 2012, somewhere. And then I've been using OBS on the computer for probably probably a year or so, maybe. And then I've been using OBS on the phone.
Really? They have it on the
Just
phone
great.
too, huh?
Yeah, you can use a company called Streamlabs,
Hmm.
and that's an OBS app on the phone.
At one time, if you could believe this, I was paying $50 a month to, I guess it was live stream when I was doing those Guitar Gear Tech Talks with Jeff Diamond.
Okay.
And so we could have 2 cameras. So I would be, I don't remember how we did it, but we did a 2-camera setup and you were paying for that. And even that was a little glitchy.
Yeah, I remember those. I was trying to remember where I had come across Jeff Diamond, and thank you. It was your channel. Okay.
We did that for about a year and a half. And it was, I'll tell you, Jeff was the brainchild behind that because he's just a really smart guy. And, you know, he wanted to do this thing. So we used, you know, my platform, but he put together the agendas and it was a good run. We had a good time doing that.
Michael B says the best part about Streamlabs is you're not reversed, tagging me in it. Yes, I tried using it, except with the bandwidth that I have, it was a little too choppy.
How do you fix your bandwidth? Is it just like an environmental thing by you that you can't make it better?
I just have to get a better internet service provider. I'm on DSL.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
So, I don't know where you are, but here bandwidth is cheap. In fact, I checked the bandwidth the other day. I pay like $40 a month. I get 200 down, and I was getting about 50 up for $40 a month.
For 75 a month, you can get 5 down and 1 up.
Wow.
That's about 50 US. Yeah.
That's insane.
Yeah.
Why is it so bad by you? Like, why? I don't know. I mean, you don't live.
Basically, we have more land mass than the U.S. and 1/10 the population.
So it's just the infrastructure cost.
Yeah. You know, and they can't charge us $200 or $300 a month and then be able to put in fiber optic everywhere. So, like, I'm looking at a coax cable setup, which is much faster than DSL. It is available in my area, but like fiber optic isn't even an option.
Wow.
It is in town, 2 miles away, but not here.
So if you lived in Toronto, it would probably be easier.
Oh yeah. Yes and no, actually, because like Guitar Hack, who just left, he was live earlier today, and his connection is roughly the same as mine, and he's on cable internet in Toronto. But again, infrastructure, right?
I bet you'd get better. You have LTE on your iPhone, right?
Yeah.
You probably get better bandwidth on your doing it from LTE.
I would, but again, you can't get unlimited data as a monthly plan in Canada.
Really? So they got you screwed no matter which way you turn.
Oh yeah.
We have unlimited data. And
the best plan I saw was 80 gigs a month, and that was a little over $300.
Wow.
Yeah.
Ouch.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's me being blurry.
Got it.
That's why, you know, I need the channel to get up, you know, like I know you're shooting for 100K in subs, which if you aren't subbed to the Tone King, please sub to the Tone King.
Thank you.
You need to get up to 100K.
Can I give a quick plug? Would you mind?
Sure. No, go ahead.
Okay. So, it's been, you know, I've been at this for 12 years and that's been a goal. So I'm working with Framus at Rockboard, and we put together a giveaway. So it's celebrating a little bit early, but we're trying to get this done by GitCon, which ends, I think, October 12th. So if somebody wants to participate in the giveaway, subscribe to my channel, and, you know, it should be, you know, give you an opportunity to get some cool gear from Rockboard, who is sponsoring it. So thank you. That's it.
There we go.
Thank you.
I saw Johnny just leaning over. He just subscribed.
Awesome.
Nice. Nice.
I've been subscribed for years.
You know what's interesting is I never really paid too much attention to the stats, probably only for maybe the last, I'll say 2 years. I became more interested in what they mean. And I've said this, I publicly said, like, the subscribers all that. It doesn't matter to me, and it shouldn't matter. But here's what really blew my mind when I was looking at it was 70%, around plus or minus 5%. About 70% of the people that watch my videos all the time aren't subscribers. I was like, huh, that's interesting. And I think that may be true for a lot, because I've polled a lot of folks that have, you know, even more and less subscribers. And if you look at that stat, it's interesting. You know, in fact, you having less, I'd be curious to know what yours is. And we could talk offline, but of those that watch versus, are they, what's the percentage subscribers versus not subscribers?
Mine's a little skewed because of a couple of videos. And those videos have had like 10 times the hits of a normal video, of course. But I think I'm sitting at about only 20% of my views are from non-subscribers.
Wow, okay.
Yeah, because I think part of it is because I'm live the majority of the time. You know, you have that dedicated following that are subscribed because they want to know when you're live. Whereas, like, I can say I've probably been subscribed to you for 2 to 3 years, but I've been watching you much longer because I type in Electro Harmonix Big Muff review, you come up, you know, and let's be honest, like 5 years ago when I really started using YouTube as a tool, it was you, it was Shane from In the Blues, Gearman Dude, and, you know, a couple others. But those were the three, you, Shane, and Gearman Dude were the big three as far as, okay, I'll take his opinion, you know. And then I'd see Henning, and I'm like, I don't even know what he's talking about. And this guy's crazy, but we all love Henning, so.
So Thrash Metal says, I mod overzealously block chats. I don't block anything. The only thing I block is if it's like just a direct insult. Like, you're too fat to be playing a guitar. Why are you playing? It's like, I don't need that. But if it's not like a direct insult, you could leave comments all day long. I don't care.
Hello, Unbox Warehouse. New to the channel. We are.
My #1 search term on YouTube is the Tone King. It's like the stats are saying that when people watch my videos, they go to the search bar, type in the Tone King, find a video, and watch it from there.
Right. Which you would think something that somebody would do if they're going to subscribe to you, as opposed to just watch a video. I would think. Yeah.
Well, I mean, not everybody that watches YouTube, not everybody is signed in.
That's a good point.
You know, not everybody has an account.
But thank you for allowing me to talk about the plug online and on your channel.
No worries.
Very much.
Glad to do it.
So yeah, we're trying.
It's an open community. I told a lot of people when I started the channel, it was because a lot of us came over from Johnny's channel, and Johnny at that time was live 3 nights a week, and I started a Thursday show because we wanted a place to hang out on Thursday nights.
How did you guys meet?
I did a search for live streams, and I saw this Eddie Van Halen based chat, and I thought, you know, between the guy's guitar playing, his company, you know, the all-income, Eddie Van Halen is one guy that you could probably talk about way more than any other guitar player in the world. And I thought, oh, cool. You know, I like Eddie. I thought I knew Eddie material. I thought I was a fan. I knew squat until I watched Johnny's channel for a good month. And then I got into binge watching his old shows. And I think
Johnny,
I watched
you are mostly EVH stuff, right?
Huh?
You are.
I'm sorry, what?
You are it's a question. You're mostly EVH stuff, yeah?
Yeah. I did a couple, well, I guess a few guitar lessons like 9 years ago. And some of those videos just like super, you know, the views were like crazy. And then I started doing like a live, well, a hangout thing like 3-4 years ago, talking about Eddie Van Halen's gear, his guitars, and all that stuff. And I've got a couple other guys, David Nesdall, Rob Johnson, actually Philip McKnight. He jumps in from time to time, and we talk about the stuff. So yeah, a lot of people see me as like an Eddie Van Halen guy, but I like to talk about everything. You know, literally everything. I'll talk about anything.
Nice.
Yeah, and I think like I've seen even over just since I started watching the fact that it has changed from like Eddie to where it's such a community because like you said, you see the same names in the chat where it's just going to be, hey, if I have a question about a Strat, I can ask, and these guys know.
Right. I saw your, and this is for you, Ben. I saw the last one I saw, I guess it was maybe about a month ago. You had, who was it on from Tone Talk?
Mark Kazansky.
Yeah. That was pretty good.
Didn't even know you knew I existed as a channel, sir.
Of course I did. But you know,
yeah, because you saw my name in the chat.
That's actually pretty meaningful that you that I just confessed to watching that episode because I've said publicly that I don't spend a ton of time watching other guitar channels. Most of the time when I watch YouTube, it's dumb stuff, believe it or not. It's the adrenaline shot of stupidity before I go to bed. I lean the iPad up, and it could be the College Humor channel, an SNL skit, just something dumb to wind my brain down. I watch 5 stupid videos, and then I go to bed. That's usually, you know, when I'm not producing on YouTube, that's my wind down time. So that the reason
winding down with
I was
Dean Martin roasts.
What'd you say?
Dean Martin roasts. That's what I've been watching before bed the last couple weeks. Some Dean Martin roasts. Just, you know, because they don't even have the whole roast, just clips from somebody roasting somebody. So, you know, I'll check out, you know, some Don Rickles or Dean himself or whomever is on the panel.
You know which more modern roast, which was funny, was who was the 2.5 Men guy? What was his name?
Charlie Sheen.
That's one of the best roasts out there. They killed him.
They need to bring back, what was that when they did 2 or 3 of the Gear Gods did the Metalhead roast. They did Deed Snyder and Zach Wilde and a couple others, I think, over the years. If you haven't checked those out, check that out.
Mad Raj just said best TTK video is 2013 with the NAMM. Did you guys see that video? So
yes.
I was playing the EVH guitar in the EVH booth into the EVH amp, and Eddie Van Halen walks up. And he was like, I forget what order, but he was like, sounds good. Don't stop. Keep playing. I'm like, okay. So every time someone says I suck, it's like, no, you don't understand. Eddie Van Halen said, keep playing. Sounds good. Don't stop. I have proof. It's still online. I have proof that Eddie Van Halen told me that.
Yeah.
Talk about a right place at the right time. And someone that I knew that worked at Fender said, you have no idea how lucky you are, because at the time they told me Fender employees are not allowed to like be all cell phone, you know, like jump in videos and do all the stuff with videos, because they're employees of the company. You treat, you know, you treat it delicately. So I had the camera rolling. I was there just doing my thing, and man, right place at right time.
I had I'll say a much smaller version of that happen to me at Cosmo Music Fest. I stopped by the Keeley Electronics booth because Robert Keeley was there, and he was the first, you know, industry person I'd seen that I could, well, actually, that's not true. John from EHX was right across the aisle. I talked to John first, who does all their videos, but then I went up and I was talking with the Robert Keeley sales rep, and I got to plug in a Duesenberg guitar into a Milkman amp through the Keeley pedal board. And I played a few licks, and I heard, that's pretty good. And it was Robert Keeley stopped talking to whoever he was talking with, and he reached over and had dialed in his compressor for me a little more. And that was the whole point of showing up, because I wanted to try a Keeley compressor, because I'm in small town Ontario. And then to have Robert Keeley dialing in his compressor, and I'm just like, oh, this was worth the drive to Toronto. You know, right then and there, you know, I've arrived as a YouTuber.
I just got a Keeley compressor not too long ago, and I have a few of his pedals. In fact, my wife was recording me the other day on my iPhone, and some of the video got cut off, so I don't think I could use it. But I was telling, you know, the iPhone that upstairs There was one pedal I'm really enjoying lately, and I'll tell you what that was. It was the Oxblood, Keeley Oxblood.
Yeah.
That thing sounds amazing.
Yep.
If you want the smooth, we were talking earlier, what's the difference between an 80s Marshall and a modern Marshall? The Oxblood is the 80s Marshall. It's like that. They call it the Klon sound, but I don't know. I think it's a little bit more than a Klon sound. I feel like it's probably sounds not too far off from your MOSFET back there.
Right.
If you have an opportunity to check out the Oxblood, you should check it out. It's really...
I did. Oh,
you did?
They had one on the same pedal board. I got to play that, and I got to try a D&M drive for the first time.
I never tried one of those. Did you like it?
Loved it. It was one of those I get it moments. Like, the big reason we went up because it was a free event, less than 2 hours from home. We thought we'd shoot some video. Turns out I was the only YouTuber at the event, by the looks of things, like that was shooting video. So everyone was very accommodating to me, which was awesome. Like literally red carpet treatment, the opposite of what I've heard about, the NAMM horror stories of YouTubers, say from NAMM 5 years ago, which is, I think it's changed a lot because of GitCon last year, I think really helped with that. Mm-hmm. But, we're hanging out at the Keeley booth and I'm like, hey, I get to try these Keeley pedals. I've only seen people review and I tried them out. Got to try the Oceans reverb pedal from Electro Harmonics, and they had only dropped their video of that the day before. Mm-hmm. And then the other one was I went up because they carried EVH. And again, hanging out in Johnny's on his channel, I wanted to try a Wolfgang. The closest Wolfgang to me is almost 100 miles away. Mm-hmm. So I pick up a Wolfgang, and the EVH rep, we plugged it into 5153, 212 cab, and I played it, and I did a run, and I went, holy crap, like, I can't play this fast. Why am I not tripping over my fingers? And then I look up, and Richie's like, so what do you think? I'm like, and all I could say was, I get it. I get it. I get it.
Did you, hey, Johnny, did you ever compare the EVH amp with the 5150?
Mm-hmm.
What are your thoughts, like on a back-to-back?
I think the EVH, I think you can get more sounds out of it.
Mm-hmm.
The 5150 to me is really only two sounds. I've had that amp since 1995, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Your
EVA, your 5150.
The PV, yeah.
I think your dog wants to leave your room.
Yeah, I think he has to go out.
My dog does the same thing. That's why I knew. I'll be upstairs. She walks right to the door and stares at the door. It's like, I'm gonna let the dog out.
I'm still here. I'm gonna let him out real quick.
Go let your dog out.
Thank you for that, Jason Wade. Yes, if you're new to the channel, thank you very much for tuning in. Leave a thumbs up and please subscribe if you dig what we're talking about.
Jason,
growing every day.
Thank you, Jason.
Yeah, so I'll give you a little background. I started the channel in mid-January, and going from hopefully you go live, you hope somebody comes on just to ask a question. We had like 4 or 5 viewers the first night. And I think one of the turning points was one of our channel sponsors is a buddy of mine who owns 3 local music stores. Mm-hmm. So he allows us to use his inventory for review. We just go in on weekends, use a lesson room, and would shoot some reviews. So would have been I guess early mid-June. We haven't done a lot of reviews just because I work a lot of weekends as well, so it's really hard. But my buddy's like, dude, you got to come in. You got to check out these guitars. And so he allowed us to shoot some review vids on the Fender Players series about 3 or 4 days before they were released. So I was able to upload the video and everything, and I was able to publish my video on the morning of the release of the guitars. So it was literally Anderson's and me had videos out. And I usually get, 150, 200 views on a video. And I think I looked at that one. It's still getting hits. I think it's over 1,600 views.
I'll tell you, I'm just thinking for you, if you have sponsorship, one of the things that like when you're looking at sponsors, it's how can they help you make something better, not just necessarily give you access to gear.
Mm-hmm.
And if internet is one of those things, maybe they could sponsor you by, giving you a monthly stipend towards greater internet, so you could do more for them. And in return, you like, hey, if my show wouldn't be possible if it wasn't for, these sponsors, which, help for these things.
Thank you very much, RJ. Just got a subscriber.
Awesome. That could be something to think about,
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah. We do actually, we did a show from one of their store locations a couple of weeks ago, and they had a blast. The guy who heads up their social media side of things, he wanted to be involved. We had him on as a guest. Of course, you have the wall of guitars behind you, so we're pulling stuff off the racks to show people. And it looks like we're going to probably do that at least once a month going forward, too. And we thought it'd be cool because here's a guy that works retail. So, like, if you want to talk, is retail dead or not? This guy's working the front lines. He knows. Right. He's working in a mom and pop store, in a small town. Excuse me. So if there's a vulnerable style of store, it would be him. But
I'll tell you, I hear mixed things from everybody. I think it's like everything else. I hear some stores are doing great. I hear others are going out of business. I think it really comes down, and in my humble opinion, because I don't own a store, so I'm just sharing nothing more than my opinion. I just think that those that embrace new ways of doing business will do better than those that don't. I think that people that own stores today need to have an online presence. They need to, be involved in the community, right? Before YouTube, there used to be news groups, and like Harmony Central and all that. And there were some manufacturers that would chime in. There were some stores that would chime in, and people would trust these and, respect these and ultimately give these places business. And I think that not every store has embraced the new online community. And just to give you an example, on my channel, Flipside Music always stops in, which is great because not only do I like him and not only is he a nice guy, but he's communicating with the community. I
dig him.
Yeah. RNA Music is another one. These are small local mom and pops that have embraced, a new way. You take a company that's not doing that, maybe it's the struggle's a little bit more real for, someone that's not embracing, because you have to remember, everyone that we're hanging out with right now, we love guitar, we love gear. I mean, this is the community to hang out with, if you sell gear.
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah, and we're always getting questions, what's your opinion on this guitar, this amp, this pedal, stuff like that. And I know, even myself, people have asked me, what do you think of this one pedal and stuff? And I know I've sold pedals for companies already. I don't know if you're familiar with Outlaw Effects. They're a Canadian company. They're being sold through Guitar Center now, I'm told.
Really?
Yeah, they're kind of like a Tone City, the micro-sized pedals, and they have 10, 15 different model pedals. And it just happens that their sales rep is also the sales rep for Keeley. And my buddy Sean, who owns the music stores, carries their product. And so I went up to him. I'm like, hey, Sean at Ardens? He's like, oh, yeah, I know Sean. I'm like, yeah, he sponsors my YouTube channel. I've shot some reviews of your pedals. And he's like, oh, really? I got to check out your stuff. So I was like, yeah, thank you. And the biggest thing for him was because they're a very affordable pedal. Like, I think they're all under $100 Canadian. So think of it as, everything's under 75 US. And we're like, yeah, we both have some of your pedals on our pedal boards. And he's like, well, yeah, like for practice. I was like, no, on our gigging pedal boards. He's like, wait a minute. So you guys are in a band, you gig, and you use our products. I'm like, yeah. He's like, we got to talk. I was like, sure. And I think at that time I just hit 200 subscribers. So it's like, I felt like, well, what am I bringing to the table? Essentially. But then I realized, like you say, you do a gear review, anybody can look it up if you put the right search words in. Right. So we did a couple of reviews, and then he saw our stuff, and then I got an email, and he's like, hey, can you review? He has a combination tuner pedal that's also a power supply.
Who is it? Outlaw Effects?
Outlaw Effects.
I got to pull them up real quick to take a peek.
Yeah, and so it just happened. We're thinking logistics, shooting a review vid, and I thought, well, geez, Richie has one on his pedal board. So I just texted him. I'm like, hey, man, shoot a 5-minute or like a 2-minute video on your tuner / power supply. And he's like, okay. And he just did this little 2-minute video. We posted it up later that same day, and I emailed the guy. I'm like, here's the link. He gets into work the next morning. He's like, dude, I asked you that at lunchtime yesterday, and you already had a video posted that night. It's like, just happened that we have the pedal already. He's like, cool. Do you want me to send you one as compensation? And I was like, actually, I really dig your one distortion. Can you send me one of them? Boom.
They have a nice. I'm looking at the line right now. I like that. It's got some vibe to it. The Hangman, the Widowmaker. That's awesome. Yeah,
the Deputy Marshall.
Nice.
Killer pedal. It is a Marshall in a box. Unfortunately, that's what I asked for my free pedal, and I traded it to one of my subscribers within a week because he's like, dude, I heard your demo of it. I love it. Will you trade me for this pedal? And I was like, I can't get those pedals around here. Done. Because I can get another Outlaw pedal.
Where are those made?
I believe they're made in China, and the company's out of Montreal.
Wow, very cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, they look cool.
Yeah, really cool. Little stuff, and yeah, great little company. So
Jason,
those in the chat.
Jason Wade got a good deal on a guitar.
Yes, he did. He just picked up a beautiful yellow gem. Or not gem, sorry. Is it gem? No. It is an Ibanez. Oh, let's see here. Yeah, this is the photo he sent me.
That's pretty awesome.
Yeah. Yeah. There you go, guys. There's Jason Wade's newest acquisition. And he just got a Wolfgang in the last couple of weeks, too, I think.
Oh,
he got a Strat today? Jeez, man. That's 3 guitars in a couple of weeks.
That's awesome.
That's more than Steve.
Yeah, I wanted for a while. I want the Jakey Lee Charvel, the blue one. And they're not cheap. Used, they're going for like 18 something, and I'm like, to me that's a $1,500 guitar.
Yeah.
Not a $1,900 guitar.
Are you into older guitars?
Not necessarily. I mean,
I won't show you that.
You can show it to me. I was gonna say not only older. I like a little bit of everything. But yeah, let's check it out.
So I got this last December, and I have done some modifications to it. This is my 71 Telecaster.
Wow, beautiful.
So I put a modern bridge on it so I could actually intonate it, which direct bolt on. You don't have to do any modifications. And courtesy of Showman Blues, I have a brass nut in it.
Wow.
Yeah, I went old school. And then we put Nashville wiring in it. So it's got a 4-way selector switch, bridge, both, neck, both again, but out of phase like a Strat.
I like it.
Yeah, some beautiful.
It's funny you mentioned
bird's eye.
You mentioned it was a 71. I want a guitar that was made in 73 because that was the year I was born. And I've looked at eBay for like 73 guitars. They're either real ugly or real expensive.
Yeah.
I've yet to find the $350 73 guitar,
Yeah. And we were talking about that on our Thursday show, the CBS years for Fender, where it was like 10% of the guitars were 45% of them were absolute garbage, and 45% of them were absolute gold.
Right. Alexa, stop.
Somebody's popular.
Yeah.
And people call me crazy, but I'll actually take that guitar out to gig with.
Nice. You gig regularly?
Not as much as I'd like to. Usually get in a gig every month or so.
That's funny. Todd says, try being born in 59 like me. Well, you know what that means. Gotta get that 59 Les Paul.
Exactly.
Maybe that's a bargaining chip, right? Probably save you a little bit on one.
Oh, wow.
or maybe not.
So Jason Wade got the Strat today. It's a load, so I'll be able to zoom it in a bit. There, check this out, folks. Color matching headstock and all.
What year is? What is that? Burgundy mist?
I don't know. It almost looks like a dark pink.
Jeff Beck purple.
It could be. It's either a very dark pink or a very light purple.
See, the Jeff Beck in purple is one of those ones that I wanted also.
Maybe he can tell us in the chat. Guitar Pit has to go. Well, thanks for tuning in, buddy. Leave a thumbs up if you don't mind.
Let's see what the Jeff Becks are going for. See, that's another one used. They're really expensive.
It's a lavender 60s, Terry says.
You know who's better getting deals than I am? I always thought I was good at getting deals. Steve from Boston.
Those two Strats you got during he showed off the last live stream?
Yeah, he knows how to get a deal.
I was going to say, I think I saw you in the chat there.
Crazy deal.
Yeah. Well, and the one he bought it on the Friday at the Guitar Center in New York, and they had it in time for the live stream the next day. Like, rural Ontario, I just can't wrap my head around that.
Well, yeah. I mean, he's in Boston, so I think he could probably get things pretty quick.
Sister says the whole family's here. Okay. Who else is in here that's family member, Amanda?
So is Amanda your sister?
Yes.
Gotcha. Hello, Amanda.
Lovely sister. She's not a musician yet, but she loves talking gear for some reason. She hears the passion when we talk gear, and she's learning so much every day. And yeah, we're going to get together soon. I've been crazy busy, but she's a singer, and really? She's been working on her voice, and we're going to do some jamming and maybe do some recording. And
also Ontario based?
Yes. Yeah, she lives about 20 minutes, half an hour east of me.
Wow. Very cool.
Yeah. Yeah, we don't get together as often as we'd like physically, but we hang out in the chats now all the time. Oh, she met the chat families all here. Okay.
But Ben, do you know anything about like repairing amps or not so much?
Not amps, guitars, I don't mind. I'll do just about anything to a guitar, and what I won't do, fortunately, my best friend / co-host / bandmate did 2 years of luthier work. So, yeah, what I don't do, he can do. So,
yeah, I was trying to bring a guitar amp back to life on my Friday night show and didn't quite come back to life. So
yes, actually, that was my viewing for tomorrow. I came across that. For some reason, I didn't get the notification. But then again, I swear, you only go live late at night, the weekends I work. And I was just like, it's like you're turning in, and it's like, TK's going live? Come on.
Yeah, no, I always do it late because I have 3 kids, and I am under the ground. So if they're not in bed, I hear everything.
Yeah.
No, I always try to do it late at night. It's just easier.
Sure.
Showman Blues.
Much prettier than me. Yeah, well, duh. It's my sister. She got all the looks in the family.
Nice.
The Tube Testers was fun to watch, Michael B says.
So what's behind the black curtain?
Storage boxes.
Gotcha.
This is essentially a storage room. So, yeah, it was weird. The autofocus on the camera used to be really, really bad trying to focus in on all the logos. Plus, Johnny was asking if I worked for U-Haul or Lowe's all the time. So,
when I moved here, I had a ton of those U-Haul boxes. They're actually good boxes. They're like the perfect size to move.
Yeah.
Anything
well,
bigger than that, you can't.
We had a leaky roof last year, so when we had to get the room renovated and stuff, the crew came in, boxes everything up. They put a sea container in the yard, and so we're just like, okay, well, it's a storage room anyway, so just move everything back in. basically just reboxed everything, and then yeah, I just add a few of my pedals and stuff like that, you know, and my amps, because, you know, somebody has a tone lounge that kind of inspired me. So
it's funny because I'm enjoying trying to figure out what everything is. As I'm talking to you, I'm like looking in the background. What is the thing on the second shelf behind the pedals?
Let's see, just over here.
Yeah, what is that?
That is a tube-powered 2-channel mixer from the early 50s from a radio station.
Really?
Yep.
I knew it had to be old. I just used the tube tester on my old video and had that big meter right in the middle as well. I'm like, what is that? Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, my dad picked that up in the late 70s, early 80s for, you know, I think it was given to him. And so, yeah, it's just been sitting on a shelf ever since.
Wow. Yeah, when you're bored, man, you got to fire up some of the old stuff, you know?
Yeah, I've got one of his old amps still, like a mid to late 60s solid state amp. Baldwin is the manufacturer. Same model amp that Willie Nelson used for decades on stage.
Wow.
And my dad he was into rockabilly mainly, but growing up he played in a country band when I was young, because that's the music that was available to play around here. It was all country. Or I should say we had two kinds of music, country and Western, available. So,
you know, it's funny you said Willie Nelson used to use that. You know, there's so much gear out there, especially used gear. You realize if every manufacturer took a break for a year, that would be okay.
Yeah.
Right? You look at like Peavey as an example. Go watch the old Sweet Home Alabama song. They had Peavey on stage, like Walls of Peavey.
Yep. Gary Rossington was the first Peavey endorsee, I believe.
Yeah. Making albums with this stuff, touring the world with this stuff. Why couldn't they do the same thing with the same gear today? Probably can. You know. So it's interesting. It's interesting that it's like everything. You know, when you follow retail, right? It's like Christmas time to get that new TV. You know, it's always, you know, always something new, a new, you know, something new every guitarist has to have, you know?
Yep. Yeah, and some things stand the test of time and some things don't. There's still something about just, like, say, plug a guitar into a tube amplifier, saturate it, and play.
Yeah, I agree. I think that's, I think of everything as like the fun factor, right? I think plugging into an amp and just turning it up is something a lot of people today don't really get to enjoy, because a lot of it is, you know, it's through DIs or through, like, and I do it too, but like, you know, like the torpedo stuff, right? They'll plug into a torpedo with impulse responses, and it's great for recording because you get, you know, the right tones, but I feel like not everyone gets to experience, you know, the big and the loud, if that makes sense. And that's fun. Like going on a roller coaster, you know, it does something when you hear that, you know. You know.
I agree. Welcome back, Johnny.
Thank you.
So Guitar Girl says, so wait, does GAS, which for those that don't know stands for Gear Acquisition Syndrome, cause manufacturers to produce more gear, or does new gear produce more gas? I think, in my humble opinion, I think manufacturers do it because they're in business to sell new gear. I mean, it's the job. They have a company, and you know, whether you're making windows or cars or guitars, like you want to keep selling stuff. Otherwise, companies go out of business.
True.
So I think.
I want to say quickly, hey to Craig. Good to see you. Craig and Craig. Craig Guitar Wannabe and Craig Tullius. Good to see both of you.
Hello, everybody. And I think that creates gas.
Yeah.
You know, because everybody wants the latest and the greatest.
Well, and it's amazing. Like my dad, like, he doesn't play anymore. He'll come back here and he's like, "Why do you have so many amps? Why do you have so many guitars?" And he doesn't even get pedals, like, because this guy played a Telecaster into a Fender Twin, and that was his rig, right? And there's no hiding behind that.
Right.
The man used no gain, you know, clean, plain country, Tele, whatever. And he's from that generation where you owned one guitar and one amp. you might own a second guitar, but it's really barely playable. And you never took it out as nobody had a backup guitar. You know, you broke a string. That just meant, you know, the front man talked to the audience for 5 minutes while you restrung your guitar.
I think that gear is also more accessible today. You know, your dad probably saved up a lot of, you know, all things being relative, I think he probably saved up a lot of money for that guitar.
Oh, yeah.
You know, where today you could go buy a Strat for, you know, $250 or $2,500.
Yeah.
Right? I think it's just things are. Plus, I remember, you know, before eBay and before Reverb and before the internet, you were limited to what they had at your local guitar store.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Today, oh, you want that that old guitar that, you know, you could have whatever you want whenever you want it.
Yeah.
You know.
But on the other hand, everybody knows the value of everything too, right?
Yeah. There's no hiding from that either.
No. Hey, China Guitar Skeptic. Good to see you. Yeah, it's funny too because I guess it was about 3 or 4 years ago. I was playing in a very hard rock band. We sounded very much like Godsmack, that style of music. And you know, I'm playing Les Pauls in drop C through my Fender half stack behind me here. Drop C. And I joined a cover band, and I thought, okay, you know, I'm going to transition. Like, this is what I want to do for the next 20 years. Just play my favorite songs, female-fronted classic rock band. So I went for a completely different tone. I was playing through a Fender 212, different pedal board, went from Les Paul to a Tele. Well, I didn't have a Tele, so I took my dad's old Tele out of retirement, which is a 67. And Dad would come out to see us play, and he'd love saying to Richie, my other guitar player, he's like, so I hear you like my $300 guitar. Because that's what it cost new in 67, right?
Right.
So he always comments, it's $300 guitar. And he only bought it because a Stratocaster or a Jazzmaster was too much money.
So it was 300 when?
1967.
All right, hold on. Let's do a conversion. What does that look like today? Inflation calculator. So what was the year? Tell me again.
1967.
1967, 2008. And how much was it?
300. Hey, Soda Pop. EJ.
So today, that guitar would be $2,239.
Which is within $100 of retail of an American professional now.
So there you go. Like I said, it's like saving up for, you know, a real expensive guitar today. Yep. Think about it like this. If the only guitars that were available today were $2,200, most guitar players would have 1 or 2 or maybe 3 at most. That's it.
Yeah.
That's it. None of these 10, 20.
The standard 2 electrics and an acoustic, probably, right?
Yep. I'd say the average price point, like, you know, again, I don't work in a music store, but if I did, I'd probably say $500 all day long is, you know, the average price point for whomever, you know. You start to get a little better. I think once you hit about 1,200, you're at a, you know, you start to hit that law of diminishing returns where, you know, the difference between 12 and 15 aren't that great, but between 3 and 5, it's huge, you know, that type of thing.
Yeah. I was just thinking, because for about 500 Canadian, 600, you get a decent Ibanez or, you know, the Korean Jacksons, man, they're like 300 Canadian. You know, like a Jackson King V for, yeah, I think they were like 250 Canadian. And I couldn't, for a hardtail, and I can't believe how well they play. You know, and I swear, I'll have to say, you know, it's Fender as the corporate side because they own Jackson, Charvel, etc. But the cheaper a Fender product is, the better the neck feels to me. Like their Affinity series have a raw neck back now, and I love that. You know, meanwhile, or you can spend 5 times as much and get like something out of Fender Japan, and they have that super high gloss that they do on their necks. and I can't play them. And I did get a message from Johnny. He'll be back in about 15 minutes. Howie, his dog, wasn't feeling too well, so.
Gotcha.
I'm quite all right.
I'm probably going to wrap up here and probably about next. I'll wait till he comes back, but then I'll probably wrap up myself.
Yeah, I was thinking we'll probably wrap that up anyways.
Yep.
So would you be interested in doing another Hangout in the future?
I would be.
Awesome.
Would be.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Okay.
This was fun.
I'll email you on that stuff.
Yeah, I'm glad it worked out tonight.
Yeah. Yeah, well, that's the thing. I thought, well, I'd messaged you about that other date, and I said, well, hey, Johnny and me are just hanging out, shooting the breeze. If you want to jump in, if you're free, because, people are free on Sunday evening. Hey, Johnny.
Hey, I'm still here. Sorry, you guys. Yeah, Howie, he's not feeling well, so
all right.
I gotta take. You know how a dog keeps wanting to eat grass?
Yes.
You know, so that means he ate something earlier and it's not treating him right. So I gotta take him on his W. Right. So
actually, you know what? We're at the top of the hour, so I'm gonna wrap things up anyways. So yeah, if you guys just hang on the line for a minute, and I just want to thank everybody for tuning in. Thank you, Johnny, for jumping in. Thank you very much, TK, for jumping on. This has been awesome. Thank you, everyone in the chat. If you're new, please subscribe, ring that bell so you'll get notified when I put up some content. And as I always say, hold those doors open. Let that guy in ahead of you in traffic. Do good things, and good things will happen to you because karma is real. So be safe, be well, and be good to each other. Have a great night, all.